Good afternoon. I'm sorry, good morning, and happy belated Thanksgiving. This is the day after Thanksgiving. My Christmas lights are already up, not my Christmas tree inside, but that's tomorrow. We're way ahead of time on a bunch of things, except I haven't bought any presents for the wife yet. Well, I'll take care of that with a few clicks of my friends from Amazon before too long. And I hope everybody had a good holiday. And I hope that we have an even better holiday during this holiday season as such. Enough said about that. There'll be two videos this morning that you need to watch. The first one, which is this one, this is video number one, is relatively simple. I just want to get some things out of the way, and I didn't want to clutter it up with the next video, which is more complex and about additional change theory. I've been talking so much about the futuring premise as the change premise, which in many senses, as I think you've hoped to realize, is a synthesis of lots of other change theories that have come before it. And if you shook a stick at change theories, you wouldn't be able to stop shaking the stick. But there's a change theory for a change theory for a change theory. I don't mean to belabor you with a million different change theories, but I do want to give you some ones that are relatively current and have relevance to what you're trying to do in terms of your mission to become ENL certified and leaders of ENL programs. And you've been doing a great job in this class as far as that's concerned. I just remember something else I have to talk about. Okay, so let's get started with this piece. I've reviewed the discussion question responses that we got about the purpose in terms of the alchemy activity. If we had a little more time, I would turn the alchemy activity into a more full-fledged simulation. But I just don't think it's fair to you to try to squeeze too much at you at once at this point in the term. So I'm not going to do that. But we are going to try to capture the highlights of the alchemy process in this way. And by the way, alchemy obviously is woven with and part of it, maybe a synonym for futuring, if you want to think of it from that corner. I did explain that at the previous video last week. So what I had asked you to do, I put you into teams, I had given you roles, and then I had given you a role for each role, or that is to say, some sort of specialty, which I want to emphasize you need to even get better at as we move through the last parts of the process. And I looked for you to offer one sentence purposes that you, based on the case study that I had given you. And you did a good job. The only time I saw people fall out of the tree a little bit was in the, and it's understandable as I do the same thing even now, is sometimes you confuse the purpose with your strategies. Everybody does that. In fact, you can make an argument, and a good argument, that strategies and purposes are, a strategy is also a goal. It's also a purpose, just a more specific one. But I do try to squeeze a difference between the two. And hopefully you'll see why before we're finished with the semester. So the short story behind that is a couple of you did that. You said, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And that's not the strategy. Those are not purposes. Those are strategies. How you mean to meet the purpose, but what you still needed to do, and some of you know who I'm addressing this to, but I saw it as an issue across the board, is what you need to do is look for the deeper issue. Now, I didn't plan this, but those of you who I really have to watch the optional office hour video that I did last Tuesday, I think, last Tuesday or Wednesday. That particular video modeled the final assignment. And in and among that assignment, what I did with the three people who managed to get on live was to help them see the difference between a strategy and a goal. So if you use goal as a euphemism, as a synonym for purpose, then we know we're in good shape. And they began to do some of the same things. And you can see I squeezed them, and they quickly drank the Kool-Aid, understood what I was trying to drive at. The purpose is, you want to use the word vision, use that word too. Sometimes I get tired of using it. That's why I prefer to use purpose. But in any way, you slice it, it's all about really, why are you doing something? What's the reason behind it? What's the purpose behind it? And then what are the strategies are that you try to bring that off is the next piece of that. And so I saw that happening. No, I don't want to mix too many things all at once. That's what I saw in a couple of the discussion question offerings that some of you offered up. And nothing flagrant, nothing that was fire house fire of any kind. So I'm smiling because they all did a pretty nice job. You also, within the time frame you had, to not quite the extent that I wish you would have done, in truth, as a group, is to comment on each other's ideas. Italian phrase. Not everybody's going to understand the phrase I'm going to use. That was kind of men's and men's, but I did, which is Italian for half and half, or meh, if you want to use whatever that word came from. But in the end, I can see people were responding to each other's purposes. And essentially, you actually did, I think, a pretty decent job. One team probably a little bit better than the other. I'm not going to comment on that yet. In essence, and that's really falls to the board president and to the superintendent, would be Rowan and Diana, to squeeze these folks a little harder next time through. All right, don't let them off the hook so quickly. But in the end, we have several purposes. And what I did this morning was I emailed Rowan and Diana, and I kind of did a shortcut on this. And I asked the two of them to give me what they think the purpose is based on what everyone has offered. So I'm hoping by the end of today, understanding this is a 4-day weekend, but I'm hoping before long, he smiled, we'll have two purposes, one from the educational leadership team and one from the World Out There team. And as soon as I see two, I need two, I can't have one, I'm going to post those two as the next discussion question. So if I had a magic wand, I'd have them today, one from Diana, one from Rowan, and then I would post them up as soon as I get them, both of them up in the discussion question. And I'm then going to ask you to kind of shed your team assignment, shed which team you're assigned to, and then vote on the one you think makes the most sense to you as a potential leader. And that will be the purpose that both groups will be working towards. Now, another way to do it too, it would be for you to try to blend them together, and that would be the ideal way. And if somebody wants, and some of you want to take a crack at that, that would be wonderful. But I'll leave that open for the moment. So that's where we're going with the alchemy process. All right, check one thing off, and then you're going to vote, and then I'll tell you what to do next. All right. Okay, now a couple of other comments. Excuse me. As I already said, and again, this is a brief video. As I already said, come back to me, Bernardo. The mind is still a little fuzzy. Oh yeah, we had a terrific session last Tuesday with three of you who were able to get on at that hour, which is 5 o'clock on Tuesday, for a little bit more than an hour, and we had a great conversation about the final assignment. I recorded it, so for those of you, the other 6 of you who weren't able to attend live, you have to watch it. I'm not giving you an option. You need to watch it because we did a very solid front to back modeling of the assignment, the last assignment, the final assignment, the action plan. It's all there. I'm not even going to belabor it in this particular video. except for one point I just want to emphasize, and I'll say it again. If some of you come back to me and say, I think I need some more help with this, we'll handle it one of two ways. One way would be for me to do one-on-one phone conversations or Zooms. That's fine. Another way for me to do would be to do another optional office hour next week. So I can do that, but I don't really feel the need to do it at this point. I think we did a pretty decent job for everybody. Now, just one point in case you missed that premise. There's two parts of that final assignment. One is the template, and that's what we spent a lot of time modeling and filling in what I call the boxes and squares. And the three of them did a great job. They just did. It was just wonderful how they saw things falling into place. And what that laid out was, and again, I'm not going to belabor that particular video. What a whole action plan should look like, left to right. It also showed what those individual components of the action plan must be in an action plan. And I only asked for 3 strategies. Kind of would like to have asked for more, but I don't think it's fair to you as a whole, the class as a whole, to learn how to do the whole action plan all at once. It's something that you need to practice. I do promise you that once you get this muscle, you will have a muscle that most administrators don't have right now. And I do promise you that it'll be to your benefit, not only as a practicing administrator, but also as a teacher, for that matter, and also as a in the certification exams. All right, so enough said about that. So I think that's pretty much laid out for you. If you need more help with that, let me know individually. And if enough individuals say I need help, then I'll have a live session again. But I don't see the need to do it, quite frankly, at this point. If you watch the video closely, I've read all the and have graded. I hate that word grade for a graduate class, but that's what they want me to do, and I get paid to do that. So what I did was I gave you up to 10 points on the faculty memo, and some of you did. You all did a good job. Nobody flunked, no, by any means. Any of you who got less than a 10, with a couple of you, if you got less than a 10, I always give the option for you to go back and get the 10. In other words, if you want to resubmit to me, that's absolutely fine. Just tell me you've resubmitted and I'll reread it. I get feedback for each person's assignment. And so you know what you need to fix. And if you're not clear on that, you can also speak to me about that if you want to get the full 10. All right. But you did a decent job. What I didn't see was something I'm going to talk more about in the next video. And I'm not laying that with any of you. That's a matter of my not emphasizing it strongly enough, not only in the particular assignment expectation, but also in the sequence of how I approach it or change issues as such. And that's how you help your stakeholders, your constituents, if you want to use that word, your faculty to become members of your committee as to what they need to expect and what components of a highly engaging model, empowering model need to embrace. Which brings me back to the final assignment, because even with my 3 my all-star scholars who were with me Tuesday, they had the mindset, and I use that word too often, I know, but their mindset, and they're probably smiling when I finish saying this because they know I'm smiling by saying it. They had the mindset that from teacher, they were not thinking as principals or chairs, okay? They were thinking as teachers. And so they kept putting down, like, saying things like, I will, I as the principal will, this kind of thing. And I kept saying to them, and you'll hear it in the video, why don't you have the group do it? That's what a committee is for people to share their understanding. And I use this word 100 times in the hour's worth of video. You're supposed to empower people to want to paint the picket fence. Not all of you will understand what that means, but I did explain that to some extent in that video. In other words, part of what a good principal or chair is going to do is to empower others to contribute to the whole with a W. It's not about you doing everything for them and then giving it to them. It's not about you telling them what the data say. Not about that. Honest to heavens, it's not. Okay. It's about your having them say, let's look at the data together and let's figure out what we need to do to help these children. Let's figure out who's going to take care of that. This kind of premise. That's high engagement, high involvement, which I'm going to talk more about in the next video. Now, I'm smiling again because I don't want to belabor this, but I did say to the three people who were on that I still don't know what to do about Dr. Gonzalez's trauma workshops. The links came up, but some of you keep coming back to me and saying, I can't get the links and I don't know how to fix it. And I didn't know what to do about it. And so I want to claim this was my idea, but it wasn't. I think it originated with Diana, so you can thank Diana for this. And I think Marlene was also gung-ho for this. And when Kay got on a little later, I think we shared it with her as well. So the bottom line is, I'm going to frame this out a little bit better. Bottom line was, you do what you're able to do as far as what links you were able to watch, and it's optional. I will give you extra credit. I don't like to give extra credit. It sounds like we're all in the third grade together when we do things like this, but I'll find a way to give you extra credit for that. I haven't thought that part through also well, but you'll hear from me by way of something probably before the weekend is over. So for this particular video, I gave you directions for the next part of the next discussion question, which is basically vote for one of the two purposes that your two bosses will have put up. That would be Diana, hi Diana, and that would be Rowan, hi Rowan. Chase these folks down, synthesize the purposes, or take it upon yourself to squeeze it and finalize it. Get them to me as soon as possible. As soon as I get the two discussion questions, I will post them up for the other 7 of you, and all of you will vote on which purpose you think wins the day. If you want to meld the two together somehow, that's great. That's great. Someone wants to take that, maybe Diana and Roland, if they have the time, somehow email each other, connect with each other. They can do that too. But in the end, I want one discussion question by the end of next week. That's one more purpose, I should say, by the end of next week. And so what I'm basically saying is that's your discussion question. So that was the first thing we talked about. I commented on, we had a terrific final assignment, extra help session last Tuesday. That's a video that's recorded for everyone to see. And that's not extra. That's not optional. You've got to watch the video. If you weren't sitting there, the 3 of you were sitting there, have heard it already. The other 6 of you have not, must watch that for your own sanity and as you move forward to complete the final assignment. There's an extra credit thing coming down the line that I haven't thought through so well yet. But and for those of you who have the links and would like to respond to Dr. Gonzalez's offerings, okay? And that's the end of this particular video. Surprise, surprise, it's only 20 minutes long. The next one's going to be longer. Get the lights up.